coming at you live from Dean College Digital Studios for Episode 1 of the Rox Revival Podcast. My name's Quinn Alexander, broadcaster for the Rox, and I've got a couple esteemed colleagues alongside me and a very special guest. We're going to start Curran Coakley, Syracuse rising sophomore broadcast intern, and we've also got Grant Flood, the sideline reporter, and a very special guest today, Trey Ciulla-Hall, the outfielder for the Brockton Rox, first-year pro player. And just to start off, wanted to thank you for joining us, Trey. It's truly an honor to have you here, and it just made so much sense having you be our first guest, hometown kid from Brockton.
Yeah, man, I appreciate y'all having me, man. I'm really excited and look forward to kind of getting into it with you guys.
So Grant Flood, our sideline reporter, and you guys have caught him a couple times on commentary as well. He joins us. And Grant, this is your third season with the Brockton Rox. Great to have you back as well, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Super thrilled. Second year as a sideline reporter, and I've been very excited to get to meet some of the players to start off the season, and I can't wait to meet more as the season goes along.
Curran, it's great to have you too, man.
Thank you, man. First year with the Rox, so this is exciting to be here, but the team's got a lot of energy so far, so I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next.
Sweet. We're going to get right into it. Just to start, Trey, this is your first year of professional baseball. Just how have the expectations that you had matched up to what has actually happened so far, and just how are you enjoying it?
Yeah, man, it's been awesome. You know, it's a new journey for me. Coming from college ball and getting right into pro ball, it's been awesome and made some great relationships already. You know, the guys are awesome. Doc, Sauce, this is a great crew we got there, and I'm super excited to get into it. You know, the expectations have been, meeting what I expected, and just trying to keep going and keep winning baseball games and playing well.
How did that connection with Doc Edmondson, manager for the Rox, and just the Rox as a whole, how did that begin, and how did you end up on the team?
Yeah, the Brockton Rox is something that ever since I was a little kid, running around and going to those games, it was awesome. And I've always remembered just sitting there and kind of being starstruck by the guys that were on the field playing ball, and being like, I want to do this someday,
Yep.
be on the Red Sox, be on the Rox, whatever it may be. And it's kind of a full circle moment for me, being able to come back and play here. And Doc is the man. He was the coach at St. A's, and I went to Stonehill College. We were in the same conference, so I played against him a couple times. After my whole situation, in college, and supposed to go to Maryland and play my last year there, I kind of didn't know what to do after they denied my waiver. So I kind of gave Doc a call and asked him, "What, do you have any opportunities for me?" And he called me back and said, "Yeah, come on down to spring training. We got a contract." So it's a blessing, and I'm super excited to kind of be here and playing in my hometown.
Trey, you have a very interesting rise into professional baseball, like you just mentioned. There's a really interesting article you guys can find online. If you Google Trey Ciulla-Hall, it's the first result. Like you said, you were intending on playing in Maryland for a year before going pro.
Right.
Can you just kind of talk to me about how that went down and why you weren't able to actually play in Maryland?
Yeah. So my freshman year, it was kind of during the whole pandemic. That whole COVID craziness. It was 2020, 2021. And it was a mess. Everyone knows it. It was a tough time in the world. And my mom, unfortunately, going into my freshman year, got diagnosed with COVID, and she got it pretty bad. You kind of hear stories about people that are hospitalized and people that get very sick from it, and she was one of those people. And, it was tough, and trying to get used to college and be a first-year college student was tough trying to handle both things. And we played an abbreviated season, so we kind of didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if we were going to play, if we weren't going to play, if we were going to get sent home. But we ended up, Stonehill was really good about it, testing us. We played, I think, 35 games. But throughout the whole thing, they were kind of telling us, we're going to get the year back. Like, guys are going to get this year back. We see the D3 guys getting it. A bunch of D2s are getting it. So they were just telling me, yeah, like, we're just going to play. And for me, I'm someone that, if I'm healthy and I'm able to play, I'm going to play. And it's something my mom wanted me to do. We had conversations about it. But I was going back and forth from home and in school and trying to figure it out. I'm the oldest of 5 at home, so I got 4 little brothers and sisters, and it was tough for sure. So we filed for my waiver. I started in 14 games and then appeared in 21. So apparently that number was 20. That people, if you played in 20 games, you got it back. But
Wow.
I appeared in 21, so they were trying to, get that waiver for me. They allowed me to enter the portal after my senior year. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm going to get it back. And I committed to Maryland. Shout out to them. They were awesome people. They were great about the whole situation. And then NCAA kind of sat back, and they didn't give me an answer for very long. Like, I was supposed to go out. Larry was getting ready to leave from Maryland, and we get a email like, we need you to send more paperwork in, more doctor's notes on your mom's stuff, more doctor's note saying you saw our counselor or whatever it may be. So we submit all that stuff again, waiting months. Now they're already in school, and I'm like, dude, I need to get out there. I need to start playing ball, right? So then Maryland was like, you know what, we're just going to have you come out for the spring and be with the team and get to know the guys. So I was out there for that whole kind of spring, and when we were working out and still waiting for the NCAA to come back. And they came back and denied my waiver, told me I had to appeal it through the courts and get an injunction, kind of like the Diego Pavia situation.
Yeah.
And we waited, we're getting ready to leave for our first series, and they told me no. So I had to come home and I had to figure it all out. So it was definitely a tough year for me and trying to figure out what I'm going to do. But, you know, it was a blessing. It let me here, and it's cool. So.
And how has manager Edmondson make you keep your confidence by giving you that roster spot and giving you an opportunity to play for the Rox this season?
Yeah, he's been great. Doc is the man, you know, and the first conversation we kind of had, he was like, I know it's been tough for you, but we want you to come in and kind of just be you. You don't got to be anyone else than who you are and who you're going to be at Maryland. So just come in and be the baseball player you are. And, you know, he's given me great confidence. He's a great baseball mind, and I talk to him about ball all day and every day. And, yeah, he's been great and giving me so much confidence and just the opportunity to be here, you know, and play and show what I can do and just be at home.
Do you find like this situation kind of fuels you a little bit and serves as motivation? You kind of had the game stripped away from you for a year, and now you're able to get out there, be in the starting lineup, show your talents off every day. Do you kind of have a mentality when you go out there like, this is what I can do and this is what I was denied of?
Yeah, man. I think I'm someone that I've always played with a little chip on my shoulder. It's kind of how I was taught, and it made that chip on my shoulder pretty big, you know. And every day I go out there and I'm like, I don't take it for granted, you know, because it can be taken away from me whenever. And I saw that, so definitely. I was pissed off, I'm not going to lie, when that whole thing went on. So now I go out there and I play, and it's always in the back of my mind, like, oh, I should be Maryland right now. Things should have went differently, but it didn't. So I play the game, you know, a little bit harder and a little bit with that in the back of my mind every day, you know. So. Did
you ever have, like, was there a hint in the back of your head or any thought that NCAA was going to deny you, or?
No, not at all. You know, I think everyone in my circle and everyone at Maryland, everyone at Stonehill, my former school, they were great too. Like, they wanted me to go out, and with all the NIL opportunities now and the scholarship I was going to, it was, you know, it's life-changing for a young guy and a young baseball player, and everyone was just like very optimistic about it. I was optimistic about it, so I was super shocked, and it really knocked me off my high horse when they told me, like, no, like, you can't play.
And I mean, it sounds like you're handling it, you know, the best way you possibly can, just taking it as a blessing. And, you know, it works out pretty nicely. You're able to keep playing here in Brockton. Yeah. I have to imagine that, you know, home field advantage is real, but especially for you playing in Campanelli, man, it's got to feel like a real home field advantage. Just what does it mean to you to be able to keep playing in Brockton?
Dude, it means everything. That was my high school field, you know, and that's my former high school in the background. You know, you see Brockton High, and it means everything to me. I love Brockton. I'm a Brockton boy through and through, and just being able to come out here every day and perform and be able to have my family at every game, every home game, and a bunch of friends coming out, it's super awesome. And that opening night, just hearing people screaming and loud for me, it was real cool. It's a blessing, like I said.
Dude, you have your own fan section. Like, nah. The pop you get at home games has been fun to listen to so far, man. It's obvious you're a hometown kid for sure. People out here really love you, man.
You mentioned being a kid and coming to these Rox games and looking up to the players on the field. Oh, I want to play for the Rox. I want to play for the Red Sox. And you also mentioned you have 4 siblings. So is that kind of surreal to see your family out in the crowd, like knowing you are in that position that you dreamed of being, having your family watch you?
Dude, it's so cool. It's like I said, it's a full circle moment, you know, and looking up and just seeing my family there having the best time of their life. They miss watching me play baseball too, so it was just as hard for them when that whole Maryland stuff went down. So just seeing them happy and just enjoying themselves at the field, it's really cool for me. You know, you look up there and you're just, dang, like, I'm here, I'm doing it.
I'm here, I'm doing the thing.
Right, I'm doing the thing. That's what it is. I love it. It's awesome.
You come from a family of athletes, right?
I do. My dad, he played football at the University of Maine. He tells me he was pretty damn good, so I'm not too sure, but yeah, and he has been great growing up and teaching me just how to work hard, and he never forced any sports or anything on any of his kids. But when he found out that this is what I wanted to do and I took it serious, he just showed me how to, you know, work hard. And he wasn't a baseball guy, but he learned to be. So it's been great, and it's cool coming from a family and having someone to look up to that kind of did it at the collegiate level, and it was pretty good. So.
Now, you, of course, played baseball in high school, but you also played a little bit of football in high school. You think that comes from your father a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. Growing up, he always talked about football, so it was something I always wanted to play. I played like Pop Warner and all that growing up, and I loved it. Just being able to go out there and run around was awesome. And then my freshman and sophomore year, I actually didn't play. I had a couple concussions, so I was like, I'm good. I'm just going to play baseball. I played some basketball a little bit too, but then my junior year, I was like, I'm going to go out and play. The coaches were asking, and the look on my dad's face when I told him I was going to go play football again, he was super excited. So I definitely miss it. That football, the atmosphere in football is so much different than baseball, and I love the baseball atmosphere, but that football, like the camaraderie you have in that locker room and just people out there on Friday nights, to come watch you play was awesome, and it was real cool.
So other than baseball, is football the main sport for you?
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier. I said if I could do anything, if I could be great at one sport, it'd be basketball. I'm a huge basketball fan.
Okay.
I wasn't fortunate enough to be tall enough or good enough to play to play basketball, but I love football too. I think I like sports. I'm a competitor, so
Awesome.
whatever I can do.
Now I gotta ask, are you a Celtics fan?
I'm not.
Really?
Me and Quinn were talking about on the ride here. I'm the biggest LeBron fan you will ever meet in the world. So I grew up a Celtics fan. Like my family's all Celtics fans, but being at the lunch tables and trying to explain how you're a Celtics fan and LeBron fan, it didn't really go over too well with my friends. So.
As a Celtics fan who has had his heart ripped out by LeBron multiple times, I do find that hard to understand as well. But he's
Right.
great, so I'm gonna see your side of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, switching gears here a little bit. Trey, you've matched up against a slew of pitchers with time in affiliated ball now, just a short time into the Frontier League, and you're actually slated to go against your first big league pitcher most likely here in this upcoming series against Trois Rivières.
Mm-hmm.
And I was curious, what kind of things have you learned from the pitchers you've faced so far? What's the difference between some of these professional pitchers that you're seeing here this season versus the guys you saw in your last college season?
Right. These boys know how to pitch, man. It's not you're not getting fastballs where you usually get fastballs in college. You're getting spun, you're getting pitched differently. These dudes really know. They have good stuff and they know how to play the game. That makes sense. And for me, I don't really think about who's on the mound. I think what Coach told me once that that ball leaves the hand, it's you against the baseball. It doesn't matter who's throwing it, right? If that ball is in the air, it's me versus that ball. It's not about who's on the mound. So it's really cool being able to face some of these dudes that we're in affiliate ball, we're big leaguers. But for me, when I'm in the box, I try not to think about that stuff. The ball leaves the hand, and I'm playing against the ball.
I've seen a lot of minor leaguers say too, like once they get up to these higher levels, one thing they notice that really changes is the defense. And have you noticed that you've hit some balls and you'd be like, oh, that's a gapper in college, and these guys are running it down in the outfield?
Yeah, dude, these dudes are good athletes. You got to really get one, and you don't really get no cheapies. So, yeah, that's definitely a big difference too. There's no holes in these defenses. So if you think you get one up the middle, they're taking hits away, not giving them to you. So,
For your defense, you played third base in college, but now you've adjusted into right field at Brockton. What's the biggest, I guess, difference playing defense in the infield compared to the outfield?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I played a little bit of outfield my sophomore year when I was younger, but not too much. So it's definitely new to me, and I'm learning every day. Doc has been great, and a bunch of my teammates who are in the outfield. A. White, shout out to him. He's been good and helped me out, every day on just reads, and it's all about just getting reps in, and I'm getting comfortable day by day, and I love it out there. It get a little lonely, being out there and right. In the infield, you can talk to the shortstop, you can talk to people, you can hear everything going on, but out there, it's definitely you're in your own little world, and then you're sitting there. And
you're with your thoughts out there.
You're with your thoughts.
You and your thoughts.
And then that ball's on you, but yeah, it's one of those things. I'm getting comfortable every day, and it's fun. It's cool, and all the guys are helping me out, and Doc's been great. So, yeah.
And what is that connection you have with Austin White? Of course, last year was a all-star for the Frontier League, and he's heading into his fourth year of pro ball. So what's been his mindset towards you and any guidance along the way there?
Yeah, A. White's been great, man. He's a heck of a player, but an even better person. I think he's one of those guys. He's a true leader, and like I said, between every pitch, he's talking to me, telling me position-wise like where I should be, and talking about the sky and the lights and if there's sun on my face. So he's been great, and he's just one of the greatest dudes in that clubhouse. He really is a true leader, and I appreciate him. And I met him a month ago, and we're really close. So he's a really cool dude, and I really appreciate what he's been doing for me.
Who are some of the other vocal leaders on the team here early to start the season? I think Austin White is the most noticeable one. As soon as anyone steps into that locker room, he's going to be one of the first voices you hear. But who are some of the other really vocal guys here?
Yeah, I think all these vets that we have come back, we were blessed with some really good vets. JT Dub, Jack Thomas, he's a really good leader. He controls that clubhouse too a little bit, and he does everything the right way. You kind of watch him play the game. He doesn't even have to say too much. You just see what he does and the way he plays the game, and you're like, yeah, I want to do that too. So he's been great. Jr. DiSarcina, our shortstop, he's the captain of that infield, and he's been awesome too. He kind of more just like JT Dub, leads by example, and not really too loud, and doesn't have to say too much to kind of hold the locker room. So those two guys and Whitey, they've all been great.
You mentioned JR earlier, like his defense and his leadership, but he's been swinging the stick really well recently, as has really the whole team. And you've been hitting it well all year, but do you find that now that the bats are picking up, hitting is kind of contagious within that locker room?
It's contagious, man. That's what it is. Everyone says it's a cliche, but it's so true. And I think we're just hitting our stride now. I think we're going to be a really good team, and those sticks are going to come alive. We're going to keep playing defense. The pitcher's going to keep pitching it, and we're going to be really good. We're going to be a good spot, I think.
Sure.
Go ahead, Grant.
And the win that really catapulted you guys to go on this strong stretch these past couple of weeks was that comeback victory against the New York Boulders, where you guys scored 7 runs in the 7th inning to come back and win that one. You yourself scored 2 runs in that game. What was the mindset in the locker room after that huge comeback victory, which was your first home win of the season?
Yeah, I mean, we're just telling you, we're never out of a game. This team is a team that can score runs whenever we want. We can put it together at any point in the game, and we're never out of a baseball game. Whether we're down 12-0, we're up 8-0, like we can score whenever we want. And I think that comeback victory was great for us, and kind of the locker room, the clubhouse was electric after, and we're just ready to go, man. Ready to play some more baseball and ready to keep scoring runs and winning games.
Feels like we're so short into the season so far, and there's already so many comebacks you guys have mounted or deficits that you guys have overcome that have just, it's been really, really cool to watch. And I was just curious, do you know exactly what's going on? Like, why are you guys able to just keep mounting these comebacks where it's like most teams after a while, when you only have so much energy that you can kind of put into that, but it's just your guys' ability to be resilient and stay in these games has been super cool. Is there something different going on in that locker room? Do you feel like there's like more belief? Like, what exactly is allowing you guys to keep making these comebacks?
Yeah, we're a super resilient bunch, I think. One of them things we're all super close to. We became best friends, brothers right away, and I think that's a big part of it. I trust the person in front of me, I trust the person behind me in that lineup, and that's all it is. I don't care who's up, what situation they're up in. I think they're going to deliver. And if I punch you in a big spot, I trust my brother behind me to have my back. So I think we all have that mindset, and we just stay resilient. Like I said, we're never out of a baseball game.
One thing I've picked up too with this team, and I think this is part of the reason for so many comebacks so far, is like you mentioned, you have some good vets. And what I've noticed is as the games go on, the team at bats just get better and better. Deeper in the counts, you're barreling up balls more. And I think that's been a large reason for these comebacks. Like, these guys are vets, they're smart, they're learning as the game goes on. And I think that's a really impressive trait that not a lot of teams have necessarily. You kind of go in with an offensive game plan and you just stick with it. You're not really adapting or adjusting. But this team's flexibility, I think, offensively has been huge so far.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I think we all stay to our approach no matter what the circumstance is and what the score is of the game. And like I said, quality at bats is what wins baseball games, and that's how you get on base and that's how you score. And like you said, we got a bunch of vets that they teach me something every day, about my at bat or about a past at bat. So yeah, I think those quality at bats is why we're such a good offensive team. And like you said, we stay true to who we are no matter what the situation is.
What do you think your biggest strength at the plate is?
I can hit heaters. I can definitely hit a heater. I think I like to think I know the strike zone pretty well. I was always taught to swing at strikes and take balls, and I think that gets you pretty far. So I think, like I said, hitting the straight one, I'm pretty good at, and just knowing the strike zone for sure.
Trey, we're just a couple days removed from our road trip to Trois Rivières, and that was your first time outside of the country, right?
Yeah, it was.
So,
it was.
First of all, just how was that experience? Obviously, the team taking the series 2-1 as well. So just talk to me a little about, how the team was that year or that series, but also just how was that first time out of the country, man?
It was cool. I was a little nervous. I had never left the country. I didn't even have a passport. I had to go with my birth certificate and my ID. So I was freaking out about that a little bit, but it was real cool, a good experience. And I think that's something that indie ball brings. Just be able to see the world a little bit more, and something I would never went to Canada right now if I wasn't playing ball. And then being able to take two and win a series was huge. And we enjoyed ourselves. It was cool being out in Canada, and we get to go there a few more times. And yeah, it was a good trip.
For those curious, just want to clarify, no, you cannot usually leave the country without a passport. However, in very specific situations, such as being a member of a sports team for short term, you can. I actually did the same thing. So if you were wondering, whoa, how did Trey do that? Do not try and cross the border without a passport. It won't work.
Right.
But yeah, that was great to hear, man. And yeah, the bats really came alive in that series too. I know we were talking a little bit on the way here about wanting to get the sweep instead of 2-1, but you guys do take a series, and we'll see them again in just a few days. So what do you think was the big key for you guys in that series that you were able to pull away with the victories?
I think pitching early. I think our pitchers pitched their butts off. And being able to play with the lead. I think in almost all those games we had a lead, and being able to play with the lead is super important. And being able to not count outs and keep trying to put pressure on that team when you're up, and not just sit there and be like, all right, we're 6 outs away now, we're 3 outs away, because that's when another team can sneak up on you and get even. But yeah, the pitchers did their thing, and the sticks, like, they're just gonna stay hot. Like I told you, we're in every game. That's just what it is.
You guys have a pretty good road record so far in the year. Like, you guys have done well away from home, and I know you obviously enjoy playing at Campanelli. It's your home field essentially. But do you enjoy going out on the road and being in a new environment and having a hostile crowd?
I love it. When the fans are heckling you and whatever it is, I love it. And even through college, I like the away games way better. I don't know what it was. I just I like being on the road, and I liked kind of having that adversity and having people, screaming at you and telling you you're bad.
Yeah.
And, because when you come through in those moments, it's real cool. The home crowd expects you to do it. That crowd, they don't want to see you do it. So when you do it, it's real cool.
Those road trips really do make you feel probably like a real, oh, I've really got to this point in my career where A, people are getting me to travel to other places to play ball, and B, people care enough to show up and root against me. So that is a cool feeling. Probably really establishes that feeling like, oh yeah, I'm really playing pro ball now.
Yeah, most definitely.
What has been the coolest stadium you think you've played at so far?
Oof, that's a good question. I think Tri-City was really cool. The Valley Cats, their production was sick. The way a bunch of people came out, and the beautiful park. So I think that's probably the coolest part.
What's your favorite memory? This is a tough one maybe, but what's your favorite memory at Campanelli Stadium?
Oof, that's a good question.
Get a little closer to
my phone.
No, you're good. You're good.
My favorite memory at Campanelli, probably my sophomore year. We won our first playoff game in I don't even know how many years. Probably like 10. We won a big way. Our center fielder, Cole Sutherland. Shout out to him. He's a Brockton boy. Made a diving catch in the gap, and we won. And it was just a cool moment, and had a bunch of people, a bunch of the student body come out, and it was really cool just to win a playoff game in Brockton and on that field.
Awesome. I think we're gonna kick it over to our next segment here in just a sec. Any final questions from you guys before we?
I think I'm all good.
Awesome.
All
right.
set.
So we're gonna hit our rapid fire get to know you, Trey, before we let you get out of here and get ready for your game today.
Let's do it.
Real simple, easy questions at you, and just give me your answer as quickly as you can. All right.
Let's do it.
Cool. Okay. So, what is your biggest hobby outside of baseball?
Oh man, I play the guitar. I play the guitar at home.
What's your favorite song to play?
In Case You Didn't Know by Brett Young.
Favorite musical artist?
Chris Brown.
What's the best meal of the day?
Breakfast.
1 for 4 with a grand slam, or 4 for 4 with 4 singles?
Do we win either of those games?
You win both.
We win both 4 for 4 with 4 singles.
LeBron or MJ?
Brown,
I know this
baby.
one. Yep,
Brown.
that was easy. Best local spot to eat in Brockton?
Leo's Kitchen.
Okay, Leo's Kitchen.
Secret talent, or would you consider that the guitar?
The guitar, that's probably my secret talent
Nice.
for sure.
Is water wet?
Nope.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Nope.
Really?
No.
Not a sandwich. Why?
Nope. It's not. A sandwich to me is 2 pieces of bread. A hot dog bun's 1 piece of bread. It's more like a sub.
I respect that answer.
Yeah.
A sub. I've never heard that answer,
like
and I love it.
Yeah, hot dog's more like a sub. I think it's closer to a sub than a sandwich.
Okay, last one. What would be your final meal? If you had to pick a last meal, Trey, what would you go with?
Oh man. Probably my mom's pasta sauce, her home cooked pasta. Yeah.
You can never go wrong with homemade food, I'll tell you that much.
Never.
Nothing beats home cooking.
That's a great answer. All right, Trey. Well, thank you again so much for the time, dude. I appreciate it. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
Truly couldn't think of a better first guest, man. So we appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all having me, man. This was cool.
Yep. Any words you want to get out there for the fans, or any final statements you got before we let you go?
Nah. Just come on out, man. Come watch some Brockton baseball, and hopefully watch us win some baseball games and win championships. So come on out.
Sweet. Thank you so much, man.
Hey, thank y'all, boys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Welcome back to the Rox Revival Podcast, sponsored by Dean College. I am Curran Coakley. Thank you for joining us on the second half of our show today. Alongside me, we have Jose, our very talented beat writer, Grant Flood, our sideline reporter, and Jacob, our color commentator. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We've got a lot to talk about. We've had a really interesting season so far. We're coming off a very good series against Trois-Rivières, and the offense has really been clicking so far in these last couple games.
That's exactly right, Curran. The bats have started to get going. It took a little while for the offense to get going, but the key for this Rox offense are the two catalysts, Austin White and then Jack Thomas Wold. Those two guys were great last season. Both had slightly slower starts just in terms of the actual numbers and production, but they're starting to get going, especially Austin White, and that just really boosts this entire offense.
No, for sure. Sometimes you just need a couple of weeks to see some pitches, really get that rhythm and that timing down. But you mentioned Austin White. His bat's been real hot recently, and at the start of this lineup, he's really been the spark plug for, I think, a lot of these offensive explosions. I've really been impressed with White, and the offense as a whole. They had 22 runs over this past weekend in just 3 games against Trois-Rivières, and for me, that was really impressive, especially to see after a slower offensive start.
And let's add the caveat in the fact that 2 of these Trois-Rivières games were only 7 innings long, and the offense still put forth great numbers, which is just very encouraging to see.
Yeah, and 6 of the last 8 games, Brockton have scored at least 6 runs in each of those games. So it's very important, like you guys said, for that offense to click in. And hopefully it will click in this week against Quebec starting tonight. And again, we're facing Trois-Rivières, which we won our first series, taking 2 out of 3. And they're now come to Brockton this upcoming weekend.
You know, at the start of the season, when the Rox started the year off 1-6, me and Quinn emphasized during the broadcasts about how Brockton just did not have the consistent offense to win games. And ever really since that comeback win against the New York Boulders, they have really exploded offensively. That was their offensive breakout. And now everybody, all 9 hitters, are getting involved. We have 2 players on 8-game hitting streaks, Jack Thomas Wold and Emil Rosario. And you look at Wold on Sunday, he recorded 2 hits and 3 RBIs, and by far his best game of the season. So, you know, as Ciulla-Hall was just mentioning, it's all about building that confidence at the plate.
You mentioned consistency in 8-game hit streaks. Another guy in an 8-game hit streak, left fielder Tommy Kretzler, has been swinging a great stick recently. Hit over 400 in the past week. Couple of ribbies, a homer or 2 in there. He's really been, I think, an underrated part of this offense so far. Not a guy I was necessarily expecting to be really a big power hitter or a cog in this lineup, but he's really come out and proven me wrong necessarily. He's been swinging really well.
Yeah, Kretzler won Player of the Week a couple weeks back, and I couldn't be more happier to see him do so well. He is a returnee from the New England Knockouts last season, and you always sense that he had that passion for this sport, and he has done such a good job this season, really meshed well into the bottom half of the lineup, and he has been very impressive.
It's really important to have those good bats down there. Like some teams, you get out of the top 5 or 6 hitters, and then you're just hoping someone gets on base and gives that top half a chance up. But when you come down the Brockton lineup, you see these guys are producers. These guys could be top of the lineup hitters for some other teams in this league. And I think that's truly been the key to the season turnaround. You look at their schedule so far, 1-7 start. Obviously, you kind of not hitting the panic button yet, but you start to get a little bit concerned. And then a 4-2 turnaround over the last week.
Yeah, it's very important for that turnaround for the Rox to keep winning and to turn it around quickly, unlike what happened last year. I know Jacob was part of the team last year, and we saw in the second half of the season that was the turnaround. They went above 500 after the All-Star break. So it's important for Brockton to keep on winning those games, and especially this upcoming week. I know it's still early, but you got to take at least 2 out of 3 against Quebec and hopefully turn the corner a little bit.
And like you're saying, Jose, the key right now is the fact that the Rocks are starting to play more winning baseball now towards the end of May.
Yes.
Last season, we didn't really see that until July. You can't go a month and a half, 2 months where you're way down in the basement of the league standings. That's really problematic. This year, they're doing a much better job of, okay, we had a bad first week to start. That's fine. Let's move on. And they've cleaned up their baseball.
Yeah, those late season turnarounds can get real risky if you're kind of playing meddling baseball, losing baseball, and then you start clicking towards the end, and it's really a race to see can you make the playoffs. If you want an example of a team that has been having a lot of late season look at the Boston Red Sox. They've been playing a lot of 500 baseball. They turn around at the end of the year, and things start to get dicey because that's not sustainable. You need to get these teams going early. You need to start putting the wins together now and not trying to scramble and find them at the end of the season. Give yourself a little insurance, and I think it's going to be really important to keep those wins going, especially this upcoming week. You've got 3 straight North Division series. Going to be a really big stretch with a lot of late season implications.
With the way that the divisions are set up new this season, there is a much greater emphasis on winning your divisional games. And for the Rocks, that means the North Division. It means the 3 Canadian teams and Tri-City as well. This upcoming series, like you're talking about, Kern, it's their 3rd straight against a North Divisional opponent, and it's the 3rd out of 5 consecutive. If you're winning games against your divisional opponents, you're putting yourself in a great position to move up the standings. You don't need help from other teams, and it's a great opportunity to take care of your own business against the teams that matter most to you. You really want to finish in the top 2 of your 2 divisions, and so the Rocks, they did all right against Tri-City so far this season, 500 ball against them, got the win against Trois-Rivières over the weekend, and now it's all right. Keep that going against Quebec, against Les Aigles again, and then you keep moving.
And you want to talk about really running the gauntlet in your division. How about the schedule makers? They gave these teams their hardest divisional stretches right off the bat. They said, we're not going to wait for you to get in the swing of things. We want to see how you stack up against your division right now. And so far, the Rocks have kind of been holding their own. And I think over these next couple games, we're really going to look for them to try to make that leap and say, oh, we're not just holding our own, but we are a force in this division. I think this series against Quebec, to me, is really interesting. Quebec, obviously one of the most established, successful franchises in this league. They're 11-4 coming into this series. What are you guys curious to see going into this 3-game stand against Quebec?
I think if you're the Brockton pitchers, you have to attack the strike zone early. You got to get ahead of the counts and make Quebec swing at pitches they do not want to swing at. The offense has been clicking, and I think it will continue into this series because the Rocks offense, they have caught fire, and that's what Manager Edmondson has talked to me before the year, is that hitting's the biggest adjustment in baseball, and once you get into that groove, you don't lose it. As for the pitching staff, still giving up quite a bit of runs, but they have been able to get the wins, and I have been very impressed with Trevor Anibal and Heisel Barrow, 2 returnees this season for Brockton. They have both been very impressive. Barrow 1-1 record in 3 starts, and he brings that energy to the mound. Expect him to start a game this upcoming series, and I think that's the best chance Brockton has at winning against this very tough Quebec lineup.
This lineup is very difficult, Grant. You're exactly right, and it's a lot of familiar faces for Les Capitals who are doing it again. You've got Kyle Crowell, you have Marc-Antoine Lebreau, Anthony Quirion, Justin Gideon. These are all guys we saw dominate the league last season, and they're doing it again to start this season. So keeping the Quebec star offensive bats in check will be a huge key for this series.
I think it's going to be pretty interesting because Quebec have lost 3 of the last 5 games. They're coming off of a doubleheader win against Tri-City. They swept the doubleheader. But the way that they swept the doubleheader was interesting on game 1. They came back down 3-0 heading to the final 3 outs of the game, and they scored 4 runs in the 7th inning to 1 in walk-off fashion. And then they came back in game 2 and shut out 5-0 victory against the Valley Cats. So it's pretty interesting knowing that Quebec have lost 3 of the last 5 games, including they had a 3-game losing streak prior of sweeping the doubleheader against the Valley Cats. So pretty interesting how this series is going to play out.
And I think if you're the Rocks, you look at that 3-game stand like, oh, these guys are beatable. Like, there's holes in the armor, and I think one thing that's going to be really important for the Rocks is they can't give up walks. You cannot give away free bases to a team of this caliber, and that's been an issue for this pitching staff so far. We have a total on the season 67 walks with 105 innings pitched, so that's not a great ratio. They're giving out a lot of free passes, and with a Quebec team that comes into the series with an OPS well into the 800s, 897, almost at 900, you can't give these guys free base runners. They will come back to bite you.
Rockton has also been struggling early on in terms of getting players out when stealing base. A lot of teams have been running wild on the Rocks, and the Rocks have been averaging up to 3 to 4 stolen bases a game, depending on their opponents. So definitely want to tighten up on the defense. I definitely know that Derek Bender and Emmanuel Rosario, good enough catchers to get these outs, but the infield needs to come in more and collaborate more when their opponent has base runners.
And sorry, Jose, I don't mean to step on your toes, but you want to talk about a dangerous situation. Quebec hitting 350 with runners in scoring position. If you're giving them walks, if they're stealing these bases, that is not a recipe for success in this upcoming series.
Yeah, you were mentioning the walks. Santiago Ramirez is expected to pitch in the first game of the 3-game set against Quebec. And I'm pretty sure Ramirez will have a bounce-back outing because he gave up 6 walks in 5 innings in his last start. Like, it's going to be really hard to win baseball games if you're giving up free passes, like you said. Like, minimize the walks and go out there and throw strikes and see what happens, you know?
Ramirez is he's very hit or miss. And, with a lot of those walks, he also has 7 strikeouts in both of his starts this year. So you take the good with the bad with Santiago Ramirez, and I have enough confidence into thinking that he's going to keep Brockton in this game tonight against Quebec. You need at least 6 strong innings from your starter and then have your bullpen take care of it the rest of the way, depending on how the offense is performing.
Yeah, and I think if you're manager Jared Edmondson, you really would like to see Ramirez not just keep you in the game, but win you the game. Those 6 walks, 7 strikeouts, he's throwing a lot of pitches. He's getting out of the game kind of early. If he can cut down on those walks, he can be a pitcher that wins you the game. And a guy that you know is going to go out there, he's going to pitch, he's going to give you the edge over the other team. And Ramirez can be that guy if he cuts down on the walks. And on the topic of walks and giving out free passes, Quebec rarely does that. They have the best base on balls per 9 in the league. Nobody is close to them. It's going to fall on the Rocks to be putting the ball in play consistently this series.
It's really remarkable, Kern, when you look at Quebec's pitching staff, because the fact that they, as a team, have a whip, walks, hits per innings pitched, of 1.07 is absurd. That's all-star numbers just for an individual to have a whip of 1.07, and that's what they have as a team. Now, of course, it's only the end of May, so the caveat is small sample size. But they've done a great job of throwing strikes, getting ahead in counts. And the question for the Rocks offense is, do you hope that changes? Because you want to work long at bats, of course, but also maybe the best pitch you'll see is pitch number 1. So perhaps Brockton's offense will try to be aggressive against a team that they know pounds the strike zone.
Absolutely. So as we come to a close here, I want to get your guys' predictions for this upcoming series. Jose, 3 games against Quebec. What do you think the split will be for Brockton?
I will say 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Take 2 out of 3.
What about you, Grant?
I'm going to also go 2 out of 3. Brockton's offense is hot enough to where I can trust them even against a tough opponent in Quebec.
Last season, Quebec won 10 straight against this franchise, formerly known the Knockouts, now the Rocks. The Knockouts won the first game out of 12 that they played last year and the final game out of 12. Quebec won the middle 10. I expect Quebec to win at least 2 out of 3, but I'm going to say that the Rocks will salvage a game, but the Capitals take the series.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on this one, Jacob. I don't mean to be the pessimist in the room, but I do think the Rocks would be in a good spot if they were to just win 1 game against this Quebec team. This is a powerhouse they're facing. This is a team that knows how to shut them down. Taking 1 game off them and then having a good series this upcoming weekend, I think puts the Rocks in a really good position, and that would be arguably the best case scenario realistically for them, I think.
I do think tonight's the most important game of the series. Definitely if you're Brockton to get that extra leg up, that's going to be massive heading into the rest of this 6-game homestand heading into this week. So please come out to Campanelli.
Absolutely. Well, thank you as we come to a close here to everyone at Dean College for the amazing facilities and support and sponsorship. For everyone here with me today, I have been Curran Coakley. Thank you to all of our listeners for tuning into the Rox Revival Podcast, sponsored by Dean College.